I don't want to spend the night alone. Yes, I need you, and I need to get on my own, but I don't want to go stay forever. Living on myself, but drinking on my cola underneath the rising sun. I could give a million reasons why we all know it. And you know that all you have to do is come in, just
All right. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to our Monday travel agent training call. I see Ann, Lori, Bart, a few of you waving your hands there, Gene, and all of you on video. We are glad, Ann, Stana, glad to have you all on. Let me make sure we are recording. Yes, we are recording. All right. And for everybody who, if you've been on with us before, you know, my wife, Katie, is off to the side in our chat box. So she'll be handling any questions and so forth that we have going on through the call today. For those of you that may be joining us for the first time, we do these calls every Monday night. And in addition to the Saturday trainings on how to recruit, how to share the business opportunity, how to enroll members, how to think, and so forth, this Monday night training is specifically designed for how you can maximize your opportunity as an independent travel agent, how to book travel, how to work with suppliers, how to earn those commissions. And so that's what our Monday nights are intended to do. And tonight, I believe we have a very informative and very exciting call for you as we're going to talk about some specific cruise lines. But let me give you a few updates first off. So I've got a question. Is anybody here on this call for the first time? This is your first time joining us on a travel agent call? If you are, just say this is my first time in the chat box. That way we can all welcome you. If not, I see a lot of familiar faces here. So glad to be on with everybody as always. Let me share my screen. And so for the record, I can see Stana, Paul, Jean, Nurse, Cindy, and Jerry. So you all are going to be my thumbs up and thumbs down and my hello, making sure we can see everything. So you all can see my screen okay? It says congratulations on becoming a passport travel agent. Awesome. All right, so to everybody out there that is on this call, if you are a travel agent with us, we are very excited for you to be here. I know on the previous Saturday training, DJ has mentioned, even if you're not a travel agent, you're welcome to hop on these calls so that you can learn how to share about the opportunity with other folks. But we are very excited to have you here, and I believe you've made an excellent decision joining Lavardi. So I know many of you as well, this is your first time as an independent travel agent. And so I'm always going to start each and every call with this kind of slide. I've maybe tweaked a word or two here and there, but really just kind of giving you the basics of what a travel host agency is. Because each and every one of you on here, let's see how many we've got. We've got 28 of us on this call. All of you are independent contractors. You are independent travel agents. And in this industry of home-based travel agents, there's this thing called a host agency. So what you've joined, what you've become a part of is something that's kind of all across the United States, all across the world. And so you've joined what's called a host agency. So as your host, Lavardi, along with our partner company, RSI Vacations, we're here to support you as independent travel agents or travel advisors. The reason I always put that in there is because some people call us travel agents, some people call us travel advisors. So it's just kind of an interchangeable term. So with tools, resources, and infrastructure to run your travel agent businesses. So as your host agency, we're going to connect you with top suppliers, provide booking systems, process all of your commissions, and offer comprehensive training and support. And again, for those of you, if this is your first time becoming a travel agent, you have made the single best decision that you could have made by joining Lavardi, because in addition to the top tier commissions, and what that means is Lavardi and RSI Vacations, they're a large host agency, meaning we do a lot of volume, which means we get high commission tiers versus a newer agency or a smaller agency that may get lower commissions. So we get access to the highest commission tiers in the industry from over 100 of the world's best travel suppliers. But the best part to you is, unlike every host agency out there, where the majority of them will maybe split the commissions with their agents, maybe those agents get 50% and the company keeps 50%. Maybe the agents get 70% and the company keeps 30%. Maybe in a few small cases, the agent gets 80% and the company keeps 20%. And then for the tippy top the industry, maybe they get 90% and the company keeps 10. Here at Lavardi, and I know we've got DJ, Jake, and Bart, your three co-founders, on tonight's call. They have every single call we're ever on. They're always like, we want to put as much money in our agents and our affiliates' pockets as possible. Hence, you've got the entire revenue sharing pools and all of the compensation plan there. But specifically on the travel agent side, they're like, let's revolutionize the industry. Let's do something nobody else in the world does. Let's give our agents 100% of those commissions because, in fact, you're the ones doing the vast majority of the work. So you should be making a lot of that money. So again, you're not going to find that anywhere else. So again, you've made a great choice in choosing Lavardi as your host agency. For those of you that I've not met yet, my name is Michael Catlow. My wife Katie, who sometimes pops on screen, but she's usually handling the chats with us. I am your director of travel agent training. And so my wife Katie and I, we've been to over 100 countries. If you combine the two of us together, we've been travel agents for years. We've been in travel businesses for years and so forth. So we're well equipped to help train you with all of these topics today. So today, a couple quick announcements. As always, we do this call from 8 to 9 p.m. I always put 9 p.m.-ish because our goal is to have this call complete before 9. But like last week, we completed the call and I think we were on till like 10 o'clock or so, right? Maybe even 10:10, just answering some questions and so forth. So we'll stay on as long as you guys have questions that are like group appropriate. But the actual training and the Q&A and stuff like that, no more than an hour long. It's always found at lavardizoom.com. So what we're going to do today, just give you a quick little dashboard tour of your Dash Life, your travel agent dashboard, the Lavardi community. For those of you who've been on the calls with us the past few weeks, you know I've been talking about this new knowledge base, and it is officially live today, so we're going to share that. That'll all be super quick, and then we're going to get into some specific cruise lines. I'm going to log into their specific portals. Cruising Power, which is for Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises, and Silver Seas. They're kind of all together in one platform. Carnival and Avalon for river cruises, which is a part of your Globus family of brands platform. And then, of course, we'll open it up for our question and answers. Okay, so let me just stop sharing here for a second, and let me go to my sharing of the internet. Oh, yes. Oh, you guys, let me, somebody said we're hearing. I'm just going to leave the beeps on when somebody comes in. I'll maybe turn it off in a second, but sorry, I set that up ahead of time. All right, so for those of you that are travel agents, if you've just recently joined, you should have received an email that's going to give you access to what we call your travel agent dashboard. Now, this is how it looks today. And I always like to say, you know, like when the iPhone came out, it was iPhone 1, and now I think we're on like iPhone 15 or 16. So this is how your platform looks today, and there's always going to be some constant, ever-changing things here with it, and always getting better and better. So in addition to your travel agent business, you also are Passport members. So as your membership, you're able to book for yourself condos, cruises, getaways, hotels, and so forth. But here for your travel agent suppliers, what you're going to do is you're on this, sorry for the beeping. You're going to click on the travel agent training button. And when you do that, that's going to take you to this separate page. Now, you have to access this through your dashboard there. And when you get here, when you come over to this training and education side and you click on the training modules, this is going to take you to your basic training. Now, most of you or many of you on here have already completed all of these modules. But if you're going to sponsor a new travel agent, we want to make sure they do this because as soon as you complete these 7 modules, as well as the introduction, your commission rate is going to go from that 50% to 100%. And so with each and every one of these modules, there's a quick little video just kind of explaining the platform. There's a 5-question quiz at the end of each one. And then after that, you'll get sent to a form where you are able to request access to those suppliers. Now, many people have been sending support tickets saying, how do I get access to additional suppliers, like for maybe specific types of travel? So over here on the left-hand side, if you see this preferred supplier list, if you click that and then come down to the additional suppliers list, this is going to populate all of the preferred partners, over 100 different preferred partners that you have access to as an independent travel agent here with Lavardi. And so you can see each and every one of these, they're kind of broken up into categories, cruises, rental cars. As we scroll down, right, we'll just get down to all inclusive. Oh, here we go. So hotels, we've got got river cruises. So again, small ship cruises, tours. And you can see over here, it looks a little funny on maybe mine and yours. We're going to clean up, make some of these images a little bit smaller. But if you come over here, you must have passed your basic trainings. And if you click on request access, we're going to verify that you've completed your basic training, that you've passed all the quizzes. You're going to put in your affiliate ID number, your personal information, and then which supplier you're looking to get access to. If I can make a request, some of you have been putting in like multiple suppliers here, and it's been fine up until this point. But if we can just have you do one request at a time, the way that it populates into the form for us to get that information to RSI so that they can get it back to you, get you your username and password in a timely manner, just makes it a little bit cleaner if we can do one supplier at a time. Okay, so again, in your travel agent dashboard, when you click on travel agent training, that's going to take you here. Your training and education, training modules are going to take you to your basic training, your preferred supplier list, and then additional suppliers is going to take you to those other suppliers. Now, you will see a new tab here. How many of you can see this new support knowledge base? All right, thank you, Paul. Katie's over here cheering on the left-hand side, and she's already seen it. I see Jerry giving a thumbs up. Okay, so this is actually in two places, okay? So I'm going to click on it in just a second, but we really want to thank Dave Price as well as the Lavardi co-founders for really just making all of this technology happen. So this supplier knowledge base is here in your agent dashboard. It is also in the Lavardi community under the travel agent info. Can you all see here where it says travel agent knowledge base? If you click that, it'll take you to this website, which is lavardysupport.com. Okay, so what is that page and why is that important? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing just for a second, and I'm going to see if I can turn off those notifications just to stop the noise. Give me 1 second. Play, join, and leave sound. That should stop. Okay. The reason why this knowledge base is so important and why I'm super excited about it and why I almost threw my computer through the window last night doing a few extra little edits. Any of you ever deal with technology and you really want to like throw your computer away or you want to take your phone and like smash it with a hammer? Okay, so the way we were providing support documents for you before in the past through the Lavardi community was great. Google Drive, you can download it. It's a PDF. It was kind of titled properly. But sometimes that can become clumsy, right? Maybe you don't even know what you're looking for, or you just need to type in a keyword. And so the reason why I'm really excited about this is because it's actually going to be way more than just travel agent info. So this page right here, so Stana, Paul, Jean, Cindy, and Jerry, can you all see my screen again where it says thank you? All right, so this link, okay, it's lavardysupport.com. So you can save that. You can always just go straight there, or you can access it through the community, or you can access it through your agent dashboard. But that's going to take you to what we're creating for Lavardi as a whole is an intuitive knowledge base, okay? Right now, all we've put in place is, if you see here, can you all see where it says 16 articles under the travel agent info? Okay, so all of those Google Drive documents are still there, and we'll probably leave them there for a week or so, but here's what we're going to start transitioning to. If I click on travel agent info, and can you all see up here where it says search articles? So let's just say I want to look up commissions. Well, look at this. It's going to populate all of the articles that has commissions in it. So guess what? Earning travel agent commissions. So now if you click that, we also have it to where it's got like a table of contents so you can just kind of scroll through, but where we'll talk about the 100% commissions on certain things. We're going to give little video tutorials like how to access this and how to access that even with different suppliers. So again, this knowledge base, there will probably be in the next week or so, there may be something like passport light questions, passport questions, affiliate questions, commission questions, customer service questions. So we're going to start putting a lot of relevant content in here, again, that will allow you, let's say we want to search host agency, like what is a host agency? Well, here's an article on if somebody wants to change their host agency to Lavardi, or what are our host agency details? Oh, that's not good. Sorry, this page doesn't exist. Okay, we just got it. Remember I said you wanted to throw the computer through the screen yesterday? We've got it uploaded. We've got all the documents in there. Let me just make sure if I click on that, changing host agency to Lavardi. Okay. Might have just been something on my end, but I want you all to kind of play around and search around and kind of take a look through there because there's going to be a lot of supporting information. And I've said this on several of the previous calls. If you have questions, please, please, please submit those questions through support because support gets me those questions and then we'll reply back to those questions. But if we can take those recurring questions and put them in the knowledge base, because if you have a question, guess what? Somebody else is going to have a question a month down the road, 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. So does that make sense to everybody? Everybody happy with that, at least as the start, even though the first one I just went to said not looking. So I'm going to make sure that that's working good for everybody. We'll clean that up. All right. So that was the quick little updates and quick little technology pieces. So I want to talk to you about cruises. Well, how many of you, Katie's over here cheering, woohoo, in the background. So how many of you remember I've talked pretty much every week, our favorite thing to book as travel agents is cruises, right? Now, we personally travel sometimes by booking a rental car, booking hotels on the fly. But as a travel agent, a travel advisor, the reason why I think cruises are going to be one of your best friends, but as an independent contractor, you can book whatever you want, however you want, how much you want, budget, luxury, groups, individuals, different regions around the world, specialize in all your different niches or niches. So for cruises, there's a reason why I want to spend some time tonight on this. We've had hundreds of travel clients, and I'd say 75% of our travel clients have been cruise customers because that's what we've somewhat marketed as a high kind of percentage. So cruise lines, as you develop as a travel agent, you're definitely going to realize that some things pay more than others. So just a question to you, whether you make 100% of the commissions or other agents that have to split it with their host agency, if a travel provider paid 16% of the booking in commissions versus 5% in commissions, which would you rather earn? 5% or 16%? 8% or 10%, right? We want higher commissions. So as a general rule, and YouTube it, Google search it, Chat GPT it, like which travel suppliers pay the most money. You're going to find all across the industry wide cruises and tours and all inclusives and stuff like that. But cruises generally are going to pay you some of the highest amount of commissions. Now, cruises are also some of the easiest things to book. It doesn't mean that there won't be little tweaks here, little things here, little glitches here, but they're usually some of the easiest pieces of travel to book. They offer a wide variety of options, destinations, budgets, family, adults only, Disney, like you name it, there's a ton of options. Adventure, casual, laid back, beach, mountains, snow, like different seasons. So cruise lines offer really great packages. You can package airfare with your cruise. You can sometimes do inclusions or excursions and drink packages and Wi-Fi. You can do all of this stuff together on a cruise ship. So cruise lines are great for groups. And again, just kind of think about it. Booking one piece of travel versus booking that same piece of travel 10 times because you have a family going or a company going or a church group going. It's the same kind of effort. It's the same kind of stuff doing one traveler versus a group of travelers. Now, each comes with its little pros and cons, but cruise lines are very group friendly and very high commissions in that. Thing about cruise customers, they're generally going to be happy. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen on this one for a second because let's talk about like all-inclusives. How many of you have been to an all-inclusive resort in Mexico or the Caribbean? Just by a show of hands. Okay. How many of you have been to every single all-inclusive resort in the Caribbean and Mexico? Nobody, right? There are hundreds, thousands of resorts, okay? So if a customer comes to me and they're like, oh, have you heard of this resort? Maybe I haven't. But a cruise line oftentimes cruise customers are like, I've heard great things about Royal Caribbean. I've been on a Princess cruise. I like the fun ships with Carnival. And so oftentimes, especially if they're a repeat customer, if they've cruised before, they know what they're getting into. So there's not really a lot of research that needs to be done. Now, maybe there's like this ship versus this ship. This is the newest ship versus this one came out last year. Does this one have 23 restaurants versus this one has 21 restaurants? Like, who really cares? It has 20 plus restaurants on either, right? But each one's going to have its little nuances, but it's going to be way, way, way easier for you, and your customers as a general rule are going to be happy with their experience. Cruise customers often become repeat clients. We have a group that's sailing in March. This is our third trip that we're doing for this family, our second spring break family cruise. The first one was like 40 some people. Then we did a smaller one, and then we have a big one coming up in March for them again. So oftentimes cruisers may take a cruise per year or every couple years or maybe even a couple times per year. So getting in and building that customer base can allow you to have those repeat customers. And again, their cruise line travel agent support is typically great and much, much more. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, as of today, Monday, January 13th, 2025, this is Lavardi and RSI Vacations list of preferred cruise lines. Okay, you may have heard of all of these. You may know something about all of them. There may be some that you're not familiar with. Well, again, in some cases, we've had customers say, I want you to get me a quote for this particular cruise line. And we didn't know anything about that cruise line. So we just registered with them, did a little bit of their tutorials and their little videos and learned about it. But so when I said there's a wide variety of options available to you as travel agents or travel advisors here with Lavardi, these are all of the cruise lines that you're going to have access to. And again, I said as of today, January 13th, because we may be adding some more cruise lines moving forward. Okay, so I need to log in. So what I'm going to do for the next, I'm going to try to do this in 20 minutes. That way we'll be done by 8:45 to open it up for Q&A. I'm going to log in and show you Cruising Power, which is the platform for Royal Caribbean, Celebrity Cruises, and Silver Seas. I'm going to show you Carnival, and I'm going to show you Avalon. And I'm going to show you kind of how their booking platform works. And we're going to talk through some of that. Everybody good with that? All right, so here we go. Oh, I got to make sure I've logged in. Give me 1 second because it usually logs me out. I'll be back to you all in one moment. Let me log in. One moment. Sorry for the down air. Okay, there we go. We are logged in. Okay, so on that list of cruises, how many of you have heard of Royal Caribbean before? How many of you have heard of Celebrity before? Okay. How many of you have heard of Silver Seas? I had never heard of Silver Seas, right? I've heard of them now, but I didn't know when I first became a travel agent. So all three of those cruise lines are owned by the same parent company. I think it's Royal Caribbean International is the official name of the company, but there's different brands. And so inside Cruising Power, which you can request access to Cruising Power through your agent dashboard, just like I showed you, there's so many available resources to you. Now, one of the things about like the Odysseus cruise platform is you can put in dates and details and you can search and you can pull up multiple cruise lines in one search and in one quote. For those of you that have watched that, basic training module. But there's a little bit of limitations in there because you can't do Royal Caribbean's education, you can't do Carnival's education, you can do a little bit of managing bookings in there, but I'm actually going to start kind of swaying a lot of us to start going directly to the cruise line of choice for your customer. So what I may do is if a customer says, if a customer comes to me and goes, I want to sail on Royal Caribbean in June of 2025, I know I can go to Cruising Power. If somebody says, I want to sail in June of 2025 and I'm open to whatever cruise lines are available, I'm probably going to go to the Odysseus platform, put in those filters, and then search for all available cruises to then kind of get them several different options to see what resonates best. But in here, you'll see a couple things. So I'm going to start, before I get into the booking side, I want to come over here to this little button. So can you all, Stana, Jean, Paul, Jerry, and Cindy, you can see my screen? Okay, thank you all. You see we've got a planning option. We've got a booking tool, and look at all of these options: groups, manage group dining, best travel guarantees, all this stuff. But I want to start with sales and marketing and trainings and benefits. So if I click this drop down box and I go to training and certifications, and you see how it's got Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and Silver Seas here? So if I click on Royal Caribbean, I should already have the page up because sometimes it takes it a second to open up. There we go. It's going to take us to the Royal Caribbean University. Can you all see my screen here where it says Royal Caribbean University? And in here, it is, I will tell you, Royal Caribbean was the first one that we did, right? Years ago, this was the very first travel agent training that we did. And so if you look, you've got a Royal Caribbean University campus tour, and then you can get a Bachelor's of Adventure, which has 51 little modules. But some of the modules literally take like 2 minutes, right? Like it's read a couple little bullet points, take a one question quiz. Then you can get your Master of Adventure and then a final exam. And then there's games and then specific stuff about the icon of the seas. And so when we did this, this was one of our absolute like favorite trainings that we ever did. And so check it out, right? So it breaks it down into little sections: activities, shows and nightlife, accommodations. So this will be what the staterooms, the suite class, what Royal Genie is, the youth and teen programs, accessibility at sea, cruise tours like Alaska, how to do groups and what to do with groups. So these little education platforms, let me just stop sharing the screen here for a second. They will. If you've become a travel agent because you want to learn about travel suppliers and travel destinations and book travel for yourself or for others, I think you will have tons of fun doing them. They are self-paced, so you can do 2 little modules and then go to work for a week and come back on the weekends and like do one again. So there's no time frame. And some of them may offer some little perks to you if you complete something. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. But the real benefit is the knowledge and experience and confidence that you have in that particular brand. Oh, well, I'm going to talk about that. Katie's trying to jump in and tell me about some of the other stuff. I'm going to get to it. But it's really that confidence, right? And that ability. So from a marketing your travel agent business, let me tell you what we did. As we went through some of these sections, like when we completed our Bachelor of Adventure, they give you a little certificate. And we would post on Facebook, on Instagram, in our stories, on LinkedIn, on I don't think we did TikTok, but you get the idea. We would post our little certificate and say, man, we are so excited. We now have our Bachelors of Adventures with Royal Caribbean. And sometimes we would post it as just like an announcement, but we would also use it, especially on Facebook, to say, who's ever sailed Royal Caribbean? We just completed our education piece. And so we would use it to engage in conversations. And then we would ask people in those conversations, which was your favorite ship? Did you have a favorite destination? Are you looking at a cruise for this year or next year? We'd be happy to provide a quote for you. So when we completed our Bachelor of Adventure, we posted it. When we completed our Master of Adventure, we posted it. When we did our Disney certification, when we did our Carnival certification, and when we did our Avalon certification, when we went through each and every one of these, guys, gals, we really used those little educations to inform our lives, our people, our community, our friends and family, that we were growing in our knowledge as a travel agent, which then started acquiring interest and quotes and bookings and customer and money in our pockets. So how many of you like that idea? Money in your pockets, right? So in order to do that, people have to believe that you are going to be able to book them on a good trip and everything's going to go smooth. Make sense? All right. I see Dee Dee giving a little hands together and double thumbs up there. All right, so let's go back in here, and then I'm going to go to, so again, they have their little Royal Caribbean University. Oops, wrong tab. They have their Royal Caribbean University, and then over here, this is where it gets even more exciting. Can you all see this sales and marketing tab here? And then they have create an e-quote, marketing sites, marketing assets, ship tours. So let's just go to marketing assets and then Royal Caribbean. Some of this stuff, guys and gals, it'll blow you away. How many of you believe that social media will play some type of role in you marketing your ability to book travel for people? Well, guess what? Virtually every supplier is going to give you marketing materials. They're going to give you photos, videos, emails. Some of them will even create a website for you. So let me show you what we've done, okay? So without getting into all the details, because we want to kind of get through several of these. So under the sales and marketing, and you see where it says marketing sites here, and it's got discover icon of the C's. Watch this. I'm going to go to our link tree. Now, on social, some of you may have professional websites that you've built for yourself and who you are. Some of you may not know how to create a website. I'm going to raise my hand on that one, okay? If you're not familiar with, I see Stana raising your hand, yeah. So Linktree is a completely free service. They do have a paid upgrade, and there's other things like Linktree as well. But on our Linktree, it allows you to set up all of your little social media kind of accounts. So it'll sync to your social media. We have like become a travel agent, a little information there, but I want to scroll down here and I'll make this a little bigger for those that may be on a phone. All right, so can you see here where it says icon of the C's? Watch this. If somebody was to go to our link tree from our bio and social media, and if they were to click on icon of the C's, guess what it does? It takes them to a beautifully prepared page about one of the most iconic ships in the world, the icon of the C's. And if we click skip video, guess what it allows you to do? Can you all see up here? Michael Catlow, our agency, I Love Travel Company, our email, our phone number. It allows the customer to learn all about the icon of the C's in this particular place. And if they want to start planning their vacation, guess what it says to do? Reach out to your travel advisor, right? Make a request. Here's the dates, the details. They can't book it on this marketing site. All they can do is let me as a travel advisor know that this is the one that they're interested in. How many of you like that idea? Okay. How many of you think, and it's free. It's free. Okay, that marketing website is free to you. Linktree is free to you. And on several of the calls, I've said if all you did was just picked one supplier, Royal Caribbean, or even just the icon of the Seas, right? It's one of the most spectacularly talked about cruise ships in the world. You could build an entire full-time income just on one ship. You could build an entire income just on one brand. You could build an entire income just on one type of travel, like cruises, as an example. So let me go back to my link tree, because in some cases, not everybody wants to book Royal Caribbean. So guess what we also have? Can you see here Viking River Cruises? Can you see I'm going to go to Disney here for a second. Watch what happens when I click Disney. Disney, which all of you, if you've passed that module and you've gone into the Disney travel agent site, when you complete your College of Disney and you go to their marketing tab, guess what? They have a mini site that they will create for you. So I didn't create this. This is completely free. And look, I love travel, my cell phone number, our email address, link to our social media channels. We put our little brand up there and somebody can research about Disney. But guess what? If they want to book Disney, guess what it's going to tell them to do? If I scroll all the way down, they can send an email to me, they can call, they can like contact us, they can go to our social media. Well, maybe Disney isn't your thing. One of the other travel suppliers I think we talked about on last week, guess what? Viator. How many of you are familiar with Viator as a general rule? Okay. It's like excursions, activities, and so forth. Well, Viator takes it up an even another level. We'll do another training specifically on this because it's not a cruise, so I want to stay focused on cruises. But watch this. When I click on this one, if you've registered with them as a travel agent, can you see up here where it says your agent, Michael C? Can you all see that? It's probably small if you're on a phone. Well, guess what? With Viator, a client can actually search whatever they want all around the world. They can find the tour, the activity, the excursion that they want to do. They can book it. They can pay for it without ever talking to us as advisors. And guess what happens when they book it? We get a notification that says, oh, Terry booked this one, and Sally booked this one, and John booked this one, and Jack booked this one. And guess who gets paid the for just simply sharing your link? You as the advisor who are doing that. So when I've talked about all this time with you all, that being a travel agent is easy, it's simple, it's fun, and at the same time, it's complicated as hell. Okay, so let me just make sure that's clear. As you learn this, we've always heard, I've heard a phrase for years and years, which is get good at something worth getting good at. Now, technically, you shouldn't end a sentence in a preposition with at the end, but we're not going to be grammar police here. But that phrase, that idea, to me, if you love travel, if you want to make money in the travel industry, in addition to the revenue profit sharing pools, in addition to the referrals, in addition to the residuals, in addition to all of that, the ability to post a link to excursions and activities, have somebody click it and you get paid, or the ability to post a Disney link or a Royal Caribbean link or this to acquire just a lead generation from people, to then you have to then go into the back end and kind of make the booking, but you can get paid hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the types of bookings you're doing. To me, it's the best thing you could possibly do in the travel industry. Everybody got that? Okay, I went a little sideways there for a second. I got excited. So let me get into the booking tools on that for a second. And I don't know that I'm going to finish all this by 8:45. I got to go really, really quick. Okay, so here in Cruising Power. So now as we go back in, now I want to go into the booking tools, okay? To show you again, if you've ever booked travel before, the process is very, very simple. Okay, so look at this. Start individual reservation or start a group. For the sake of conversation today, we're just going to start an individual reservation. And so just like you would do if you were a customer or even just intuitively, you can select which brand you want. Let's say we want Royal Caribbean. We can select ships. Let's say we want to do the Allure of the Seas. We can look at the destinations that we want to do, the departure port. Let's say we want to leave out of Fort Lauderdale. Our departure date, but let's say we want to do a date range. So let's say the customer is like, well, I got kids in school, so we just want to go at sometime. Oh, hang on, I got to do. It's sailing out of Europe. That's why it's doing that. So let's say again, I'm just picking a random ship, right? So let's say they can only sail during the summer because their kids are in school. So they're like, anytime between June 1st and August 28th. Can you all see how I did that? Just put in departure date and return date, and I removed the departure port. And then rooms, you can add a room, you can label the room, you can put how many people are traveling, you can add the kids, if it's accessible, if you need the staterooms to connect, if they have a crown and anchor number or a loyalty number. Now, this is one thing I want you to really think about. If they've received some type of promo code through an email, through a mailer, because they were sailed before, you as the travel advisor can enter the exact same promo codes that they have. So they're going to get the exact same rates, the exact same details if they were to go do this as a customer. Just you as the agent on record, you can enter that stuff as well. You're going to put in what state they're from and if they're military, fire, EMT, and so forth. So check this out. Can you all see where it now says there's 26 sailings and it lists all of these sailings here? And if I was to click one of these buttons, I could go, all right, well, departure ports or interior. Let's say I want to search by the cheapest interior or balcony. And so it's going to pull up all of these dates. Now, let's just say July 27th is the date that they wanted to do. Can you all see how I just clicked the little button, July 27th? Very simple. Well, watch this. When I click select, this is why we love going directly to the cruise lines. I can now see. All right, now again, I know I'm going through this fast. If you've never done this before, we had no mentor when we got started. We just logged in and started clicking a whole bunch of buttons years ago. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to do that as well. So look, there's one Royal Loft suite available, one owner's panoramic suite. We can see every single cabin category on that ship and whether it's available with how many, 10 plus available, or WLT. What do you think WLT stands for? Wait list. Means they're sold out, but it's always possible that people will cancel. And so we can see everywhere down to the interior guarantee. And so let's say somebody wants to do an ocean view balcony, 2D. Can you see this here? If I click this button, watch this. I can come down and you see where it says create e-quote and or price quote. If I click price quote, I can see all the details. Guest 1, guest 2, any savings. How many of you know cruises do promos? So buy one, get one 60% off. Okay. So it's going to show 2,700, but it subtracts 1,700 because of the promo. I can see port fees and taxes. I can see all of the details. So sometimes we just take a screenshot of this and text it to the customer or email it to the customer or Facebook message the customer. Guess what? Can you see down here where it says view agency commission? You can also come down here and look at this. On this particular cruise, if you were to book this one cabin, how much is the total commissions on that one cabin? $548.96. Imagine you booked, hang on, $548. Imagine you booked 10 people on that cruise. Who can do math? $548 times 10. What would that be? Approximately $5,500, right? Yeah, thank you. I can see some of you like mouthing. I can see Bart. Bart is always on video with us. So Bart, Jake, and DJ, I want you to really think about what you have your hands on here with Lavardi. Katie's over here even going, yeah. Every other host agency, let's say it was a $5,500 commission and they did a 50-50 split. You as the agent got $2,250 and the host agency kept $2,250. How many of you would want to throw your computer through the window if that was your case? Or what if it was 70% that you got? How many of you would want 50%, 70%, 80%, or how many would want 100% of that 5,500 in this example? That's just one random sailing that I checked. $5,500, little group of 10 cabins, 20 people, family reunion. We do those all the time. Guys, gals, it's so easy, but it's also complicated at the same time. Okay, so last little piece on here. So what I did there is I clicked the price quote, but can you see here where it says create e-quote? So if you click that e-quote button, it's going to prepare, based on the sailing that you selected, a professional from you on behalf of Royal Caribbean, a great email that's got the ship, the sailing, the details, the ports, the cabins, starting from interior ocean view, balcony, and suite. See, somebody may be saying, yeah, we just want the cheapest. We want to go on an interior. But when you send them that e-quote and they see, oh, well, like a balcony is only $150 more per person, and look at the view you get from the balcony, everything is prepared for you right there in that e-quote. So let me just stop there. That's Royal Caribbean, okay? Or technically that's Cruising Power, where you can do Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Silver Seas. So can you see the power of working directly with an individual cruise line and preparing and so forth by educating yourself, using their marketing tools, and then completing their bookings? So just imagine, thank you, Vanjie. I saw your really big thumbs up there. So just imagine that same process. I'll give you a quick little view of Carnival and a quick little view of Avalon. But remember all those cruise lines that I pulled up, right? Whatever it was, 20 or 30 different cruise lines. That same kind of feel, that same kind of process, just different ships, different destinations, different rooms, different pricing, and all of that stuff is basically going to be the same no matter which cruise line you're using, okay? So I want to show you one quick thing on Carnival, and I think this will blow you away, all right? Okay, so can you all see my Go CCL here? I'm now in Carnival's travel agent portal. Guess what? Knowledge and training, marketing tools, booking tools, just like I showed you in Royal Caribbean, just the colors are different, right? The buttons are in different places. Individual stateroom or group bookings. You can manage your bookings, promotions going on. So I'm just going to do an individual stateroom because I really want to drive this home to you for your own personal travel, something to think about. So let's just say somebody's like, I don't know, June or July, I want to depart from either Galveston, Miami, or Port Canaveral. Okay, this is something key to think about. And again, every website's going to be a little bit different as you go through this. But can you all see here where it says Interline on Carnival? Can you see this? And if you're on a phone, it'll be a little small. So I'm going to click this Interline button, and then I'm going to explain what that is to you. And we're going to say state of residency. Let's just do Arizona. Okay, so now we're going to search sailings. So based on the parameters that I pulled up, we've got 2 guests over here. It's got 130 sailings. I can filter by price, low to high, departure port, and so forth. So let's just use this random sailing. June 1st, Miami, Florida, Carnival Celebration. And if I commit, you can see how these are all different, right? This is the Carnival Horizon, the Carnival Breeze, the Carnival Conquest, different dates and so forth. So I'm just going to select this one as random. So now when we come in here, whether you'll start to learn this over time. So if you think about a flight, cruises operate somewhat in the same way. So flights have basic economy, economy, premium economy, business, and first class. But even in economy, they might have different fare codes. If you're towards the front of the plane, the middle of the plane, the back of the plane, if you've got a middle seat versus an aisle seat. So prices may be a little bit different. So cruise lines also have different fare codes or offer codes. And so you can read about them as you click the buttons. But on this one particular sailing, can you all see that there's 6 available offer codes here? You can see that? So let's just use the interior cabin as an example. This fare code, 1,119. This fare code, 1,124. This one, 1,164. Now, people may be saying, well, why is it a different price? This one gives you a reduced deposit and onboard credit. So it gives you a little bit more perks, but the price is $5 more than this one. So each one's got a few little nuances to it. Do you see here where it says Interline program? And it says $1,022. So as we go through 1109, 1604, 1022, 1164, 1124, 1119, which one's the cheapest rate? The Interline. Okay. So what is Interline? Well, Interline is for qualifying Interline employees. So these are people who work in the travel industry, flight attendants, hotel managers, travel agents. Okay. So let's just think about this for a second. If you were to be booking this cruise for yourself, you can't book this for clients. This is only for yourself, right? You can book a client on any of the other fare codes, but Interline are going to be for you. You're already saving $100 per person, right, off the cheapest rate. Can you all see that? 1,022 versus 1,119. So you're already saving $100 per person. But now, watch this. In addition to the savings, if this is the one that you were going to do, and let's just say we want to come in and do a little quick quote here. In addition to the savings, can you all see here where it says agent view and guest view? So if you're going to be emailing this to a client, you're going to want to put guest view. But if I come to the agent view, guess what I can see? I can see the commission on this cruise. Can you all see that down here? $224.80. So let's just talk about this for a second. You, as a travel agent or travel advisor, got the cheapest rate possible by $100-ish per person on that random sailing. And you earned a commission back on your own sailing. And you earned 100% of that commission back versus having to split that with your host agency. So when we've talked over and over again on all of these calls about agent rates, FAM trips, agent perks and benefits, what I want to drill into everybody's head is even if you booked it at whatever the rate is that a normal customer would get, and you're getting those commissions back at 100% of those commissions, making the cost cheaper, everything you book for yourself is an agent rate. Does that make sense? And then there are very few and very nuanced. Carnival, you get a discounted rate and you get a commission, which makes it even better. There's a few little specials that come out here and there. I wish there was one website where we could just all go to that website, or one Facebook group where they always posted like agent rates, but they're kind of hit or miss and hodgepodge. So as we see them, we'll let you guys know. But just keep that in mind. Cruises pay that highest commission. So if you're going to cruise, you get the best rate and you get those commissions. Doing something like an interline rate allows you to get kind of double whammies. Does that make sense? Okay, now, because it's 10 till, I'm only just going to log into Avalon and just show you again. So Avalon, which is a part of the Globus family of brands, they're a river cruise company as opposed to an ocean view cruise. So same thing when you're here in Globus, guess what? They have a marketing hub. They have a knowledge hub, which is your education, just like we showed you with Royal Caribbean and Carnival. They have a booking hub. They have the ability to make a reservation. And so when you go to make a reservation, guess what you're going to do? We're going to select River Cruise. You're going to hit search, and then you're going to search for your destinations and so forth. And so again, just keeping it real simple. as an independent contractor, as an independent travel agent, you can book hotels, rental cars, flight hotel packages, excursions, activities, ocean cruises, river cruises, tours, Ireland, Dubai, Nashville. Like you pick it, you get to determine what you want. I'm telling you, after years and years and years of being a travel agent, I would highly encourage you to make sure cruises are a piece of your marketing, are a piece of your booking, because it will be way more money for less effort. And the last thing, which I had on that slide, was the travel agent support. I know many of you have been on every call basically that I've done. How many times have I said, guess what we do? We call the travel agent support number and say, hey, we're a new travel agent. We want to make sure this goes smooth for our customers, for you, and for us. Here's what we're looking for. Can you help us through this process? Sure, Mr. Catlow, we'd be happy to. Blah, blah, blah. They send us an email. We send it to the customer. The customer sends us. We send it over, back and forth. So the cruise lines travel agent support, as a general rule, are pretty spectacular to work with as well. Okay, everybody got that? Katie, any questions that we needed to? Katie's written down some questions. So we've got 10 minutes until our 9 p.m. end time. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and do your virtual hand raise and we'll go in order, but I'm going to let Katie.
Your main question is,
everybody come over, say hello.
I'm not dressed for
Katie didn't put her makeup on today for today's call, but
saying hello, but I will
okay.
come say hello.
Okay, so tell me what our main question
So
is.
since you just talked about cruising power, so everyone wants to know how they get access. So they need to request access. Do
Yes.
they need to do the training in Lavardi
Nope,
first?
there is not a training. So I'm going to just, that was kind of just the
Yeah,
general.
that's the general.
Okay. So it's one of the reasons, guys and gals, why I started out by showing everybody, how do I get to our agent dashboard? There we go. So when you're in your Lavardi dashboard and you go to travel agent training, which takes you here, and you go to preferred suppliers list, additional suppliers list, if you scroll down, you'll see cruising power. Okay. So now, we do know that like the request access looks funny over there. If for some reason you don't see the request access button, just shrink your screen, your font settings, or zoom out of your screen, and then you'll be able to click that. And there's no training required for that one in order to get access to it, but you do have to request access because then RSI will set up your account. So you can do that with any of those cruise lines. That was it from your side? And I see Jean and Shannon will come to you all next. Let me just make sure Katie's got our text ones. Any of the suppliers, yep, if there's a supplier that you were asking about, it's going to be the same process. All right. So Jean, we'll go Jean and then Shannon, and then if anybody else has a question, raise your hand.
All right. Thank you. With the previous host agency, I was registered with a company called Amstar DMC. It
Yes.
does transfers and some excursions.
Yes.
I don't see that in our list. Do we have an equivalent? And could you maybe just do a little quick summary of the concept of the transfers and that sort of thing?
Sure. So, Gene, I'm going to start with if a travel supplier is not on the preferred suppliers list, right? If you can't find it, I have gotten 100% confirmation from RSI that, because when you click on that request access form, it actually takes you to a blank page where you can enter what the travel supplier is. So even if you click on the Royal Caribbean one, you still have to type in Royal Caribbean in that box. So you can put Amstar in there or Exotica or any other travel suppliers. And they did confirm with me that they are open to setting up an agency account with some of those large suppliers. So Gene, I would say just go through the same process of doing a registering with an additional supplier and just put one on there if you don't see it on the list. Does that answer that first part of the question? Okay. The other part that he asked was like transportation companies. So using something like Vax or even Globus, if they sometimes the travel suppliers may offer transportation from the airport to the ship or from the airport to the hotel or from the airport to the resort and vice versa. Sometimes you can book that right there included in the site. And then some sites or some providers don't provide that service. So something like an Amstar Gene, Viator would have that as well. People can do private airport transfers on Viator. I don't know if they do shared ones, but I know you can do private ones. So that's maybe one to look at just as like an option. But it's a great service, and again, a commissional piece to add to a booking to make the client experience even better. So, Gene's that good for here?
Thank you.
We'll go to Shannon, Joanne, and then Jerry.
Yeah, Michael. Okay. So question on when you were saying you were using Linktree and you were in Disney and Royal and they created that custom little promotional link for you.
Yes.
So do kind of new to this and getting ready to start setting up a web page, my own website.
Huh?
Do they send you a link to put that on your website, or do you give them something and they send it to? How does that work?
Got it. It's a great question. Thank you for asking. Actually, let me stop sharing so I don't show you my login. So what happens, Shannon, is when you click the little buttons where it says like create the mini site, put your phone number and email and stuff in there, it will then give you a link. So that link you can embed in a website, you can you can text it to somebody, or so Linktree, that platform, which is just like a aggregator of sites and so forth. So
Yep.
we just copy the link that Royal gives us and put it as a tab in Linktree, copy the Disney one, put it in there, copy that one and put it there. Does that
Makes
make sense?
Yep.
Okay, got it. Let's go to Joanne and then Jerry, and then again, I'll stay on as long as we need to, but Joanne, you're up.
Sorry, I don't have my camera on. I was working out. So I think, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I did not know about that whole inner line with Carnival. I might, we cruise a lot as a family, and I found that when I book on Odysseus, one of the fare codes is always net rate, and that's what I've been booking with.
Okay.
I would rather, like much rather, like you said, book through the actual the cruise line itself. So do you have a list of or if I do find like net rate on Odysseus, is it something I can call the cruise line and tell them, can you match this rate, or how does that work?
Yeah, that would be my suggestion. I wish there was a website or a list, and I don't have one of those. And some of them, like, so on Carnival, just as an example, like 100% of their sailings do not show up when you click Interline. So it's only certain it's a high percentage of them, but they don't allow it on all sailings. And so with Royal Caribbean, let me see if I'm still logged in here. They have a little bit of a different process. Let me just click on it. And so to your point, Joanne, I would just, if you find it on Odysseus, I would just call the cruise line directly and let them know you're a travel agent. That's where they'll probably ask you for like your host agency IATA or phone number or some type of credentialing. And then from there, they'll be able to tell you what's there. So with Royal Caribbean, let me just show that to you all. I'm sorry, Cruising Power. I always say Royal Caribbean. But here under the training and benefits, you see where, can you all see here where it says TA reduced rates, travel agent reduced rates? Can you see that?
Yep.
So their process is way more cumbersome with Cruising Power. So you actually have to do a reduced rate request. And so you have to like select the brand, the ship, the departure date, and then click search, and it'll say, we have no sailings that match that, or we do have sailings that match that. So it's kind of a pain in the butt with Royal Caribbean. So again, if you find it on Odysseus and that's an easy search platform, just call the cruise line and do it that way.
Okay, thanks. I did have another question, not cruise related. I'm also working all inclusive. I had a client asking me for all inclusive, and when I look on the platforms, even the hotel itself, it says the rooms are sold out. If I wanted to call them and say they're in Aruba or say they're in like an international country, what do you use to call them? Because they don't always give like a WhatsApp phone number or Viber. So what do you use to call international places to have a conversation with them?
It's a great question. Usually we'll just send an email in that case. And oftentimes we've just had to go to Google and like search that hotel name or that resort name or that property name and, find like their just regular email reservations or whatever. And when we send that email, we always just say, I'm a travel advisor looking for a quote for a client and so forth. And then they always forward it to the right places. So if they don't have WhatsApp or a way to make that international call for free, we just send an email personally is what we've done.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Maxine, I do see your question there, but I think you got that answered. So again, with Odysseus, so you can still book, you can manage and everything through there, but the way that I would personally be using it at this point is really as like a main search tool to be able to see different cruise lines and cruises at certain times. And then, because I really like the education piece of each and every one of the cruise lines, so I would want to get access to the individual cruise lines anyway so that I could learn all that stuff. So Jerry, and then I did see Shannon. I don't know if you had your hand up again. If so, we'll come back to you. But Jerry?
Uh, Hi, thanks. Question on group travel for cruising. Now, I signed up for the retreat programming. So, is it possible to book retreats through the group functionality that you showed? And well, first, I guess that's my first question.
Yeah, so I always wish there was a yes and no, yes or no, and that was it. So there is a yes and a no. Okay, so I'll tell you how we've done some retreats in our own life and with our own agents and customers and so forth. So let's use VAC, and it really depends on the retreat that a person's trying to do. So with a cruise, somebody may not want to do a retreat on a cruise because maybe your retreat is more, spiritual or health wise or whatever the case is. So something like VAX, when you go through, and if you were to book, say, a group of hotel rooms, VAX has a whole group side. There's an option where you can add a commission or a markup to it. It's in the booking administration. I forget exactly what it's called. And so what we've done for some people is, and again, if we're booking for ourselves versus having a client that wants to book a retreat, let's say the cost of the travel, for sake of easy math, is $1,000, but the retreat organizer wants to charge $500 for their coaching, for their education, for their retreat fee. You can add that right into the booking feature on, say, like Vax. And that way you don't have to do a hotel block where people pay for the hotel block and then a cash app, to pay for the retreat feature. So depending on the type of retreat, the type of supplier, what they're going to book, sometimes it may have to be two separate transactions, the travel and then the retreat fee. And then sometimes you can combine it into one. In a case like with us, if we were doing that for a customer and they wanted us to book the travel, but they wanted to add their retreat fee to it, we would just say, like, out of your retreat fee, let's say it's $500, we want to cover our time, to cover our booking, to cover our processing and all of that, we want to charge 10% of your thing, because those commissions are still going to come to you as the travel advisor, and then you would give them that portion back. So we've had retreat leaders then go, okay, well then I'm going to charge $550 instead of $500, right? So they put our little fee into that. So Jerry, if you start getting into something and you've got like a specific, that you want to kind of talk through, just send a support email, and then you and I can hop on a Zoom together and we kind of talk through some specifics that may be applicable for you.
Okay, and then part B on that are for myself, for any affiliate for that matter, could we plan our own retreats, or does that have to go through the cruise line?
So I think I'm going to answer this correctly. You as an independent advisor, you as a travel agent, you can book your own retreats for sure, right? And so there's also, hopefully this will make sense. I want you to think about it as two separate things, okay? There's the travel agent side, and then there's the group organizer side, okay? So if you are the travel agent booking for, say, a church group or a company or a family, and you're not going on that trip, you're just the travel agent, and the person who's organizing it is the group organizer. That make sense?
Yep.
If you're both, guess what? You're the group organizer, you're the retreat leader, you're the one putting that package together. So on the travel components, oftentimes with cruises, for every 16 full paid passengers, you get a free passenger, or you can take it as a commission. It doesn't have to be a free like person. Every 32, you get two free people. So every 18 cabins, you would get a free cabin if it's on a cruise, right? And they average it out. Let's say you've got some interior, some ocean view, and some balcony. They take the total amount, average it out, and that's what you get as what's called a tour conductor credit. With hotels, it might be book 10 hotel rooms, you get a free hotel room, or well, again, a group coordinator credit. So if you're both, you get the travel agent commissions and the group organizer piece or the tour conductor credit, you've hit a home run. You've hit a grand slam, I guess, technically. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Just think of it as two different pieces. Because if you're working with the cruise line, yes, you're the travel agent, but you're also, if you're going to be on that cruise, any of those credits, they're still going to go to a cabin, which needs to be you as a traveler on that cabin to get those credits. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Lots to learn. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, seriously, like if you're getting into some specifics, just send a support email. They'll get you my Calendly link and we can hop on a call.
Great. Thanks.
You got it. Shannon and then Joanne. And thanks everybody for staying on past 9, right? I know we say 9-ish, but we were officially done with most of it, but we'll stay on for a bit. Shannon.
Yeah, just another quick question. When you were going through and booking the cruise, if they're offering other amenities like, let's say unlimited drink package, is that further through the booking? Does the customer get an email and choose those things afterwards?
Yeah, so some of it can depend on the cruise line and it can depend on the rate code or the booking. So sometimes you as the agent can book that for them. And some cruise lines pay you commissions on it. Some cruise lines do not pay commissions on it. Shannon just disappeared. There you are. So oftentimes, if we think about this as the worst case scenario, you as the travel agent have booked whatever components you can book, right? Maybe even air transfers, prepaid gratuities or whatever the case is. And then that customer, specifically with the cruise lines, that customer is going to have a booking ID number. They can log into that cruise line and start managing their bookings for excursions or other things. So what I would do is if you've got a case like that, just call the cruise line and call the agent support, because some of them, again, I wish the industry was the same across the board, but it's such hit or miss. Some of them, if you are the agent that actually completes that addition or that add-on or that amenity, it becomes commissionable. If you've booked the cruise and the customer does it themselves, like the customer actually clicks the button, then you don't get credit for it as an agent, as a commission, but it's not every sailing, it's not every cruise line, it's kind of variable. So with every booking, pretty much I think I've shared a bunch, we call and get as many confirmations as we can from the travel supplier. We just want to make sure we understand everything right. Did we do everything right? Are there things we should know that we don't know to ask about? And we might even call, especially if it's something brand new, we may call 2 or 3 times to talk to 2 or 3 different agent support or customer service people just to kind of get that idea. And you'll start to notice patterns on which cruise lines do it more and stuff like that. So just kind of take that into account.
Along with those amenities, do they list them anywhere in our booking engine or anything, or is that something you discover on your call?
Not in like Odysseus, but on say Cruising Power as an example. Somewhere in the website, I forget, they have a list of available. Oh, here comes Katie. Katie's coming to answer for you, Shannon. She's been the behind the scenes on those for us.
Awesome.
Not on, I still didn't put on makeup, but Shannon, just so you know, if you do call, most of the agents that take your call in customer service for agent support, they're trained to offer that and they will always try to upsell you.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
when you call, they will probably say, are you sure you don't want travel protection? And would you like to add the drink package? And would you like to add such and such? So they're pretty good at letting you know what is out there. So if you have a question and you just call the agent support, they're probably going to rattle off all of the things that they want you to upsell your client to, because they get
a commission
upselling you as well. So
Yeah.
if your client, if you're kind of dealing with them and you're not really sure, then you can tell your client, like Michael says, hey, this is great. This is amazing. Let me check on some things and I'll get right back to you. And then just call the agent support and see, and even you can either ask them or let them upsell you, and then you can upsell your client. So that's, and then you'll also get their version of how they tried to upsell you, and you can just repeat that same language to your client. So yeah.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And this is a great topic. If I can, Joanne, I'm going to come to you in a second. I'd like to share a real life scenario, Shannon, of something that we did with an Alaska client sailing in July of this year. Because also keep in mind, let's just use cruise, since we're talking on cruises, they may offer different promos, different weeks. Does that make sense? So as an example, we booked, was it 3 cabins, 4 cabins? We got 5 cabins booked through an Instagram post, right? Katie and I went to Alaska last year. We posted some pictures. complete random stranger, as we were using hashtags or however Katie did it. Complete random stranger, had no idea who she was. We were not connected with her. We're not friends. Messaged us, right, about booking an Alaska cruise, ended up turning into 5 cabins. And it was right before Labor Day, I think it was, when we booked it. Yeah, so they booked immediately, paid their deposit, and it was like a week later. This is on Princess. Princess launched like the Labor Day promo or something. And so customer didn't message us, but again, remember I've said you're pretty much a researcher and a customer service person. That's your job as a travel agent. Or if you don't remember, I've said that on some of the earlier calls. We took it upon ourselves to log into Princess, where we already had these bookings done, pulled up the same like sailing itinerary number, looked at the current promo that was going on, and it turned out to be the exact same price for the cabin to cabin, but this Labor Day or whatever the promo was included $100, well, per person, right? It was $100 onboard credit per adult, so $200 in onboard credit, whereas just a week ago the client didn't have that. We then called Princess and said, here's our scenario. We just booked this client. Here's their booking number. Here's their stuff. We see this promo that just came out. It was like a 72-hour promo. First off, can we apply that promotion to a booking that we just did a week ago? They said, unfortunately, no, we can't do that. We said, are we able to cancel the booking and rebook them to get the customer the $100 onboard credit? She said, yes, obviously make sure like credit cards refund and process the transaction and all of that stuff. We then called the customer and said, just wanted to let you know, we just saw that there was a new promo. We did a whole bunch of research, found out that your price would stay the same for the cabin, same cabin category, but you would get $200 in onboard credit. But in order to do that, we have to cancel the booking and then rebook you, which means we can't guarantee we're going to get you the exact same cabin that you're in. We can get the same cabin category, but it might be further down the hall or something. Do you want us to make that, that thing for you? And they said, yes, absolutely. And so here comes Katie again. But Shannon, does that make sense? So it can change.
Perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, it can change. It can fluctuate. It's dependent upon cruise lines and sailings.
Yeah.
Joanne, I know you're still there. Let me just see what Katie has to say here.
Yeah, just one other thing on that. Like if you catch things like that, like you get to be the hero for them. And we immediately, I took that and I posted about it on social media and tagged them. And the lady was so nice. Well, actually, I didn't tag her. I just said, we had a client, blah, blah, blah. This is why you should book with a travel agent. Cause I just saved my client got them $200 additional per cabin because I did all the work. They had to do nothing. I canceled them. I rebooked them. I took all their information. They never had to do a thing. She commented on it and reshared it to all of her friends. Again, cold market person, and said, this is why we're so grateful because you just got us $200 of onboard credit, which we would not have even known was coming out because those emails don't always go out to your customers unless they're signed up for them. So when you get them, like be aware of them and pay attention to what clients you've already booked. So just a little plug for getting your name out there even more.
Yeah, actually Carnival's knowledge base, they actually have a program called Be the Hero program is actually what it's called inside Carnival. So that was a great point, Katie. And again, remember, some of this can get overwhelming, right? So if you're just like, I want to refer people to be travel agents, show them a video, sign them up, plug them into the training, right? You can get paid a lot of money doing that as well. So being a travel agent, being a travel advisor, yes, it's easy to sign up to be a travel agent, but to be a successful travel agent takes some thought process, some creativity and so forth. All right, let me go to Joanne because she's had her hand up for a while. But great questions, Shannon.
Thank you.
Joanne, you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
My question is non-cruise related. Do you want to see if anybody else has cruise related questions first? So I don't.
I think we've got all the hands. I see all the hands now. So go ahead and ask it.
Oh, so I obviously missed some training. So I was watching, looking back at, the ones that I missed. I watched all the recordings. And I'm also an affiliate, so I'm interested in the whole affiliate part. So when people like other travel agents that want to switch over, when they ask me who my host agency is, do I say RSI Vacations or do I say Lavardi? Because I noticed most of the majority of the slides that you had shown during those, those calls, they say Lavardi, like it says, as your host agency, Lavardi is here to support you as an independent agent advisor. But when
Yep.
people like, when they look up other host agencies, like say they look up IntelliTravel or they look up Nexion, they find information, but then when they look up RSI Vacations, they don't really see that we're a host agency. When they look up Lavardi, it doesn't really
Yep.
show up as a host. So what do I say? I think I'm a little confused when people ask. I just had some person today, a current, ask me what is RSI. So
Yeah, sure, sure. No, it's a great question, and actually, DJ is I'm sure DJ Bart and Jake, but I've had the conversations with DJ. They're actually revamping the Lavardi website with language and messaging and so forth that will talk a bit about like host agency and benefits and so forth. And so, Joanne, it's a great question, and it's a common thing that people may ask. I know you're in some travel agent Facebook groups. I've seen some of your comments on people's posts and stuff like that. And so just know it's nothing with RSI and nothing with Lavardi. There's hundreds of host agencies that don't have like uh, they're not promoting like to recruit agents and all of that stuff. So it's a natural and normal thing for somebody to ask, what the host agency is. Technically, the host agency is RSI Vacations, but once Lavardi gets the website updated, you'll just want to say Lavardi because RSI is not going to update their website to say like we're a host agency because the only way that somebody can be affiliated with RSI is through Lavardi. They don't have any other independent contractors. So I believe the website's coming out soon again. So in the interim, be confused, but in the future,
okay, so you'll let us know so just kind of throw out both names whenever I can, but when it gets
yeah.
updated, it will be just Lavardi.
Yeah, and like so again, Joanne, part of this as well, some of it comes to a little bit education wise. So again, if it was me and I was starting a conversation with somebody that was asking that question, I would use this to my advantage, right? And it's maybe hard to type it, but you can do audios, you can get on calls with them and so forth, where I would say, yeah, so like our host agency, they're a 30-year-old private host agency called RSI Vacations. Now, if you were to search them, you may not find out a lot about them, but here's the reason why. They've been in business for 30 years. They have hundreds of thousands of travel members, and our company is the only company that's able to become independent contractors with RSI. They've had a bunch of employed internal people, so we actually have a really unique platform because we get this huge agency that's never opened their doors to independent contractors, but you probably won't find much information. But if you'd like information about how they work, I'd be happy to provide that to you. Now, that came out easily and smooth from me, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah. And
It
so,
won't come.
well, but honestly, some of that stuff, like in that process, right? And this goes to building the affiliate side or as a travel agent, Katie and I may like record audios back and forth to each other on Facebook Messenger, because I know you're on Facebook. We do a lot on Facebook, just to kind of work through our language. Full disclosure as well, we use Chat GPT or artificial intelligence a lot. So we may garbly gook type in a whole bunch of stuff. Here's my host agency, but here's what I know about them. Can you put this into a script that I can record in less than 1 minute to somebody? And then we'll practice it and say it. So I'm happy to work with everybody on languaging and messaging, but again, you've got to do it in a way that makes sense for Joanne's language to come out. I can give some outline and some framework, but that's how I would kind of frame it, if that makes sense as a general rule.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Shannon?
So what you just said about the website changing and stuff kind of triggered something in my head. So is there, and you may not even know the answer to this question, is there a merger and like a name change coming with RSI to Lavardi or something along those lines?
Nope, I don't think so. There's always going to be, and it just so you know, it's actually not, it is uncommon, but there are other platforms out there where there's a marketing company and a host agency, and they're just two separate entities. And so again, your travel customers, they have no care on who your they don't even know what a host agency is, right? They know Shannon, and can
Right.
Shannon book my trip with Royal Caribbean, or can Shannon book my Disney trip? They don't care who the intermediary is that you use for accessing the travel suppliers. So all
Right.
this stuff is more just for like other agents knowing who you are and what we are.
Right. That's why I was asking. I know it's about the agent part. So
Yeah, all of the language will mostly just start becoming Lavardi, and then on the back end, it's just that RSI for the registrations and stuff like that. But Lavardi will be the messaging that you guys will be saying. Make sense?
yes, thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to acknowledge everybody for staying on that are still here, but I really want to say a special thanks to Bart as well. Again, co-founder of the company, like one of the reasons that this whole platform is in place. And he's on every call on video the whole time, like head nodding, thumbs up. Like, I don't know if he's ever booked travel for anybody in his life or if he wants to do that or he's just excited to be here. But Bart, we appreciate you and Jake and DJ, the entire support team, everything. So lots of things are coming together, and it's an honor to be here with you all as well. So we'll wrap up for today. Oh, I am going to start giving DJ ahead of time the topic that we're going to be talking about. So when he sends out those text messages like on Monday afternoon, just so you can kind of have your head wrapped around it. And then as always, these should be recorded and posted up as well. All right, guys and gals, have a great one. Let's go book some travel. Hey, thank you for the rockets, Dan and Shannon down there. Have a good one, everybody. We'll chat soon.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you.